Dan Illman, Mike Beer taking a look at race number 4 at Saratoga on Thursday. It's the Jersey Girl. $150,000 is the purse. First leg of a 50-cent pick 4. Let's take a look at this field. 3-year-old fillies, 3/4 of a mile. Field of 8 entered. The 5, Almost Gone Rocket, is your 6-5 morning line favorite. 2 starts, 2 blowout wins for Brad Cox. Now faces stakes horses.
Yeah, up in class here, and deservedly so. Just taking sort of a little step, too, for Cox. He doesn't get too ambitious with her, Dan. He finds a good stakes race for her to run in off of 2 really impressive wins to start her career.
Let's throw up our time form U.S. pace projector. We're expecting a solid to fast pace up front. Moonlit Lady, the number 7, just earned a big figure, albeit on the grass last time out at Churchill Downs, but she is very fast, whether it's turf or dirt from the gate. Gray Lightning has just lived up to her name. She's blown out horses in her last 2 races, so she should show some speed as well. And Roman Grace, a horse that's been on the lead in her last 2 starts, I wonder if she might be comfortable sitting 3rd or 4th.
Yeah, she might not have any choice in this race, Dan, Roman Grace, but to sit off of these 2 outside horses. We'll see what Moonlit Lady brings back to the dirt here, because if nothing else, Gray Lightning, not only is she really fast, she's really good from the gate.
Almost Gone Rocket, the 5, Dorothy's Dreams, the 6. They share the LP flag, co-fastest time form U.S. late pace ratings. Let's start things off with a filly that on her best day is good enough to win a race like this. It's Carmelina. She won the Gin Talking in her final start as a 2-year-old, and although she hasn't won this year, they tried her in the Busher off the layoff, going a 1-turn mile, and I think she faced a really good horse in Jody's Pride that day. The Gazelle was simply too far. What happened last time? They cut her all the way back to 6. We figured shorter is better for her.
Yeah.
That race on paper, it looked like there was just a ton of speed, and she ends up getting wired.
Yeah, that's true. She just didn't run that well, though. That's the main issue that I have with the race, Dan. I mean, maybe just cutting all the way back off of 2 route races. I mean, maybe it dulled her a little bit, but man, I mean, she was wide up close early in that race, and she could not hold her position in that race around the turn. It was really disappointing. She was a good 2-year-old. I want to give her the chance to turn it around here because I know that she has talent, but there's tons of speed to her outside. She's got the rail. She comes off of a really poor performance. I couldn't talk myself into her.
Roman Grace is the number 2. This one graduated 2nd time out for Todd Pletcher at Keeneland. First time against winners. She's odds on in this race. First level allowance going 6.5 furlongs. She's contesting the pace while off of the rail, and she's just simply going to be second best. The 3rd place finisher came back to win a first level allowance at Monmouth with an 84. Were you disappointed by this loss?
Yeah, a little disappointed by this loss. The horse that wins it, Dame Seco, she's been in good form, but I think you gotta be able to beat her if you're gonna move into a stakes race for your next start. Listen, this filly broke from the rail last time. She did not get out of the gate that well, and then had to rush up the inside. And I'm sure it made some kind of a difference. But I just didn't like that performance enough to want to take her in here, Dan. I did like her first 2 starts quite a bit, though.
Becky's Joker, the number 3, won her career debut in the Grade 3 Schuylerville at Saratoga, going 3/4 of a mile at a giant price. They ran her back in the Adirondack. She didn't run as well. She faced a pretty sharp 2-year-old Brightwork, who then won the spin away with an 84 buyer, one of 3 next out winners to come out of last year's Adirondack. She's gone away for a long time. She's also cross-entered in the Acorn on Friday. You would think this would be the easier spot, and not that easy coming off such a long layoff.
I don't know that either one of those 2 spots are really good spots for her. We'll see what we get. Listen, she did run well in that debut. She was a big price, a first-time starter in a Grade 3, and she didn't luck into that win, I didn't think, Dan. I mean, she got the right kind of a trip in there, and she did what she had to do to win that race. Didn't run nearly as well in her most recent start. She's training very well up to this. I'm not betting her in here, but I'm interested to see what she does.
Monima Gold, number 4, the X Factor in here, unbeaten from 3 lifetime starts in Dubai. Louisiana bred by the Star Louisiana bred Star Guitar. I like the way she won her first 2 starts, and they stretched her all the way out to a mile and 3/16 in this race. The UAE Oak, she showed easy speed from the start, and she's getting a little bit tired at the end of this race. I think a mile and 3/16 is a little bit far for her, but she's just much better than the horses she's beating.
Yeah, she had an easy trip in this race, and she's just better than these horses. But I agree with you, Dan. I mean, this feels like the distance is way too far for her, and she's just going to sort of get the job done at the end here while not finishing strongly. Her 2 prior races, the shorter ones, I thought were really impressive performances. I like her cutting back for this race. And you mentioned that she's by that star, Louisiana by Star Guitar. She's also a half sister to the current star Louisiana bred Overcharged, who is all sprint.
All speed. This one was transferred to Todd with maybe the hopes of getting her into the Kentucky Oaks. It didn't work out, and I like that Todd took his time. Didn't rush her back in the Black-Eyed Susan. 6 furlongs. At first blush, you're thinking, well, maybe it is a little bit far. And then you look at that pedigree and you're thinking, speed, and then you look at Todd and you're like, he kind of knows what he's doing. I think Manama Gold is interesting at 6-1 on the morning line. Almost Gone Rocket's the favorite and the horse to beat. 2 starts, 2 blowout wins, an easy win over a sloppy track last time out, which could be key because the weather forecast doesn't look promising on Thursday. Broke out a bit last time out, settled into a very good position, tracking the pace 3 wide, and then settled it quickly when produced. Think she might have to chase a faster pace than what she's used to here.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, this is going to be harder for her. I mean, when you start taking apart those 2 fields that she handled easily, I mean, it doesn't feel like she's beating great horses in either of those races, but I think you just have to really like the way that she did it. I mean, she's 1-5 in her debut, and she actually ran like it. I mean, she buried that field and just had a really easy time of it last time in the slop day. And I like how patient Pratt was with her, and I like what she did once she was asked the question.
Dorothy's Dreams is up next, and this is a big ask for Dorothy's Dreams, whose most recent victory came in this race over a wet track, but at Finger Lakes against non-winners of 2 Life competition. She has a long way to go to catch these horses on the lead at the 8th pole, so it's nice not only to see Dorothy's Dreams catch them, but run away from them in the lane.
Last 2 races, probably the best races that she's ever run, and she did it both times from well off the pace, Dan. They're probably going to be racing in front of her here. So I'm sure they're just going to try to sit back and make one run in here, see if she can pick up some pieces at a big price. Those 2 wins, though, the 2 improved races with Lasix on, she's got to take it off for this.
Moonlit Lady was a very quick debut winner at Oaklawn Park for trainer Fausto Gutierrez, who, of course, had such great success with Latruska a few years ago. Second time start didn't go as well in a first-level allowance. They tried her on turf last time out. She loved it. She was 27-1 and she blitzed that field. It's interesting that they're coming back to dirt. I wonder if she is going to be more of a turfy sprinter down the road, but there's one thing she brings to this table: speed. And that means she could affect the outcome, because if she and Gray Lightning hook them up, they could set things up for a closer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I didn't really like her that much switching to dirt here, and that's not a knock on her overall form. I liked the turf race that she ran last time, and I do think that was the better performance. Ultimately, Dan, I wasn't thrilled with her debut. She ran fine in there. I'm not going to knock it, and she got the job done. Her second start in the allowance race, I mean, I didn't really see what kind of big excuse she could have had there, and she was absolutely no match in there.
Gray Lightning completes the field, coming up from Parks for JT Service. Now, this one took the winner off, has come back and has run twice at Parks, and has won those races by a combined 31 3/4 lengths. Let's watch the most recent effort. Penbred, first-level allowance horses. She's 1-5. The race was over in the blink of an eye, going 5.5 furlongs. She's fast. Now we'll see how good she is.
Yeah, if you can believe it, the win off the layoff in March was actually even easier than this one. Paired up 94 buyers here, Dan, right on the front end, and never giving these fields a chance. Obviously, this is a way tougher race for her. Once again, she's come back as a 3-year-old, 2 starts with Lasix on, and she cannot run with Lasix in this spot. So we'll see if that makes a difference. I still feel like, even though she's the fastest horse on the way in here with paired up 94s, I still feel like if you like her and you believe in her, you're going to get a fair price here.
I do agree, because the Brad Cox trained filly is going to be a fairly heavy favorite in here. And as we take a look at our picks, that's where I'm going to go in here. I've just been very, very impressed with what I've seen from Almost Gone Rocket. And I think she's tactical enough to sit a pretty good trip off of the speeds. I kind of like your top pick as well, though, the 4 Manama Gold. She did nothing wrong over there. The last race, she gutted it out going 1 mile and 3/16. And I like the Todd pointing for this spot.
Yeah, I like her cutting back too. I'm not sure that cutting all the way back to 6 is necessarily ideal for her, but I do like her going shorter. I was taken with especially those first 2 wins over there. I'm not way against Almost Gone Rocket. I do think she's the horse to beat in here. I can take one shot against her with the 4, though, if she's around that morning line price.
Same super, different order in the Jersey Girl. 4-5-8-2 for Mike, 5-8-4-2 for me. The Belmont Stakes Festival begins at beautiful Saratoga on Thursday. Race 4's the Jersey Girl. Good luck.